And if you were at the gas pump today, you already know this. Gas prices are at $4.97 nationally. So now what? President Biden is thinking about a federal gas tax holiday. He says he will decide that this week. But will that help? The federal tax is more than 18 cents per gallon. But what is the federal government going to do without that revenue? And here's another problem. Congress has the constitutional taxing authority, so the president would have to ask Congress to do this. And, well, you guessed it, Congress is going on recess at the end of the week. The Senate won't return until July 11th, and the House won't return until July 12th. Newsmax Chief White House Correspondent James Rosen reports.
Greta, good evening. Back in 2008, then presidential candidate Barack Obama dismissed the idea of a gas tax holiday, which requires congressional approval, as a gimmick, saying that it would only save Americans about a half a tank of gas across an entire summer and was just something lawmakers would approve to show they had done something. Asked about those comments on CNBC today, one of President Biden's top economic advisors said today's economic situation is very different from that of the early Obama years.
Right now, we are coming out of a global pandemic, or at least we hope we're coming out of it. We have Russia's war in Ukraine. There's a lot of uncertainty. We have record inflation. And so this president, while very proud of the growth and in our economy last year and the strength of our labor market, also very much understands the cost of inflation for American families.
One man whose decisions helped shape the oil market, of course, is Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, or MBS. The de facto leader of the oil-rich kingdom made a rare foreign trip today, appearing with Egyptian President Abdullah al-Sisi in Cairo. The trip comes ahead of President Biden's visit next month to Riyadh, where a sit-down with the Crown Prince is on the schedule, despite Mr. Biden's labeling of Saudi Arabia as a pariah state. President Biden will first travel to Germany and Spain for summits gathering together, respectively, the leaders of the G7 group of industrialized nations and the NATO military alliance. A National Security Council official told reporters today the G7 meeting will in part be devoted to strengthening supply chains, particularly in the areas of food and fuel, so as to ease the burdens of inflation both here and overseas.
Multilateral leadership matters a lot because this isn't just affecting the United States, it's affecting the whole world. And I know the president's looking forward to having discussions with world leaders about what together they can do, whether it's increased production or less, more capacity for refining.
Admiral Kirby also announced that the U.S. going forward will abide by the terms of the Ottawa Convention and place tighter limits on the U.S. use of anti-personnel landmines outside of the Korean Peninsula. White House officials said the United States has, since 1993, spent an estimated $4.2 billion in over 100 countries to destroy leftover landmines and other conventional weapons. Reporting from Washington, James Rosen.